34 cars.
But right now, the position he's in, he actually has a small advantage because everybody else is opening the air up in front of him, and he...
Oh, here we go. Trouble, contact, and a huge crash. Up in turn number 2. Oh, multiple cars involved. Oh, my. It looks like Dan Wheldon may be involved in it.
And Eddie, you and I spoke about this morning on the drive-in. Just this amount of cars, the speed, just the chance for what they call the big one.
And what happens in conditions like that, when you're, even if you're 300 yards behind that, you cannot stop these cars. The only option you have is to try to avoid it, and it was impossible to avoid anything there.
And you saw Willpower. His car involved as well. My. What a mess. That's Townsend Bell that was, I think his car was up on its side there, the 22.
15 there of Jay Howard. An additional entry, excuse me, is that the 19 or 15? I can't see with the sun shining there. Some of the car is broken. They're showing that as Alex Lloyd, the 19.
It is the 15 of Jay Howard.
Yes.
One of the cars actually flew for about 200 yards in the air.
Red flag is out here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway on lap number 12. And from high above, you can see the carnage.
We talk about the car going through the air. Eddie, you know that these cars run so low down to the ground. We mentioned before we saw them hitting the ground and sparking, that anything underneath the car, underneath the floor, underneath the tub, really just gets the air underneath the car itself, and up it will go.
We saw J.R. Hildebrand out of his car. There is Dario Franchitti. Somehow he managed to get through the carnage, but...
Sure, guys, I mean, there's just nothing I can do.
Willpower did not.
10-4. They are going to stop you at pit lane on the right-hand side. They want the drivers to stay in the cars.
What Franchitti was alluding to is there's nothing he can do avoiding the debris that's on the track.
Well, there is debris everywhere. You can see just how many cars are literally torn apart.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is slow motion from high above.
We talked about 3 or 4 wide.
Watch Sebastian Zabeja, right?
Yes.
Little contact right there.
Now he's trying to go from the low side to the high, from the high side down low to get going for the turn.
Oh.
And what ends up happening is that he got stuck back up there, turned around, tried to take another move going down, guys, and the back end started to come around, and that started the chain reaction.
He was uncomfortable being on the top lane, and he tried, like you said, there's the car. There's 2 cars that are airborne. This puts Wheldon racing in perspective. This is the horrible accident that everybody has always hoped would never occur.
And as we said, 15 cars we now know of involved out of the 34 that started this race. We're under a red flag situation. We'll step aside. We'll stay side by side here at Las Vegas.
And all the action starts up front, Marty. As you know, we just mentioned it's very difficult to try and avoid it. And as Dario was mentioning, he's just looking forward, trying not to hit the car that's in front of him or subsequent cars that are there. And luckily for him, he got through before everything started to go just upside down.
But it's also where you position yourself on the track. He was
Patrick. Exactly what happened in this 15-car melee.
And Eddie, as we know, when you're driving along at these speeds, you're going the length of a football field in less than a second. So if something happens in front of you, you can never have enough reaction time.
It's impossible. You have no time to do anything. What happens maybe is just a small miscommunication between 2 drivers. Somebody spins and you have...
Eddie, as you know, we talked about it a moment ago, it's just reactionary time, and you hope that there's a clear path for you to go through. Now, as we see the car starting to touch and go airborne, as a driver, you're looking for a clean hole, but sometimes when you get to that clean hole, it is then filled with other cars or debris. But for